What's going on, YouTubers, gamers and fellow hobbyists? Welcome to On the Bench with Pete and welcome to 2019. This is brilliant. This is amazing. A new year, new start, all that kind of good stuff. So we're going to be talking about, old year, new year, your Christmas, my Christmas. Well, I can't talk about your Christmas because I don't know it, but I can talk about my Christmas. Yeah, and what's been going on, and what's going to be going on, and all that kind of good stuff. I'm looking. If you see me looking here now to my right, I'm looking at my monitor, which is there. Yeah, so I'm just looking to see if my cutting mat was on the screen, and it isn't. I got a new paint, Goblin Green, which I fancy. Oh, that looks weird on camera. Yeah, Goblin Green by Army Painter War Paints, and I haven't even got my goblins yet, but I've got other greens, but I wanted Goblin Green. I'm going to be getting goblins for D&D, and I'm rambling already. I haven't even started yet. Wow. Anyway, if you're new to the series, this is a video that you put on in the background as you hobby, paint, build, whatever it is you do, and I just ramble about my life and the hobby and how it is with me and stuff, and hopefully you can listen to me talk about various things and it helps you get through some of the stuff, because some things I find laborious. I can find terrain pieces like this laborious. I'm not finding these, so I started them last year. Hey, that's good, isn't it? Because last episode was last year, New Year. So this is the first On the Bench with Pete episode in 2019. Anyway, just put my timer on so I can see. I just want to show you a couple of things. Oh, I got my not my flying hive turret, but the handle. My dog's got me the handle for Christmas. That's good of them, so I can hold the bigger models now when I paint and stuff. So that's good. Pop that over there. That's out of the way. I do need to. My bench hasn't been tidied since last year. That sounds bad, doesn't it? But it's true. I haven't touched it over the festive period. I haven't touched it, and I've got to get this stuff cleared off before I move on. I've got a load of stuff, models. Actually, I pop that to one side, you might be able to see over there. I've got some Reaper models and other models and a couple of Citadel ones that I want to get going with. But that's by the by. For now, I shall be getting to that. Got my glasses, which probably are dirty. My modelling glasses. This is my modelling cardigan, by the way. So what we're going to do is I'm going to be painting. I'm just going to be carrying on with the stuff that I was working on last year. Itching to get onto new projects, like I'm sure many of you are. But I'm going to get these done. What's on the bench currently, and I've got a tutorial on the go. I've got Brand Oathblood, I think he's called, Barbarian. And I can't pick him up; he's a bit wet. But yeah, so I've got him on the go. I'm going to be doing tutorials on my Reaper models. I quite like him doing the tutorials. I'm really enjoying it. So anyway, this is On the Bench. Let's get to it. So I'm going to place a model onto my cutting mat, and I'm going to position that there, zoom in quite a ways till we're about there, and that'll work fine. I think that's about a good position to be in. I think so. Just move my bin up. I've got my heater on because it's a bit chilly today. Actually, it's more than a bit chilly. It's very chilly today. Right, now if I remember, I painted these with charred brown, which is a really dark paint. Now, just looking to see my other browns. See, I haven't even prepared for this episode, but that's okay. That's going to change in the new year. I've got this one. Ah, there we go. Yes. So intense brown will be the next one. I'm just going to dry brush all over, because mostly I've got 4 pieces you see here, which is going to be used for my D&D escapades, which I'm looking forward to this year. And yeah, so a tavern or inn table in various degrees of disarray. Now I've done charred brown over them, so I'm going to put that brown to one side. It's a nice dark brown, and I'm going to be using intense brown next. I think, yes, I am. So let's give it a bit of a shake. Now I was going to make a video. You can see my Gene Stealer cult in the background there. That's okay. I've got another quite interesting miniature to work on today as well. This female on a spit. Yeah. Which is going to be for D&D and Call of Cthulhu. And that reminds me, I'm looking at some sort of cultist, weird, sacrificial type dudes and a fire pit, which can be for Call of Cthulhu. But again, it could also be used for my upcoming D&D campaign, which I'm going to be setting up soon, hopefully. Probably next month. So I'm a bit busy this month. But anyway. Right, so intense brown. Is that what it's? Yeah, intense brown. So let's put a few drops onto my little palette, which is a little more than a milk bottle lid, really. So I'm going to be doing that. Right, so hopefully, I'm pretty sure, yeah. See, that's coming out nice already. That's, and I'm aware that the rings on the, like the barrels, are gonna have to be painted separately. That's fine. There's lots of details that'll be painted separately, but the biggest detail is obviously going to be the wood here. So so let's talk about, well, Christmas, I suppose would be the first thing. How was your Christmas? I had a good Christmas, nice and quiet. For once it was just us, nobody coming around, and yeah, it was nice. I gotta be honest. I enjoyed just, you know, doing our own thing. And do you know, one of the things we did, we played Scrabble. I haven't played that in years. I forgot how good a game it is. It really gets you thinking. You know, as a family we were playing it. Of course we had the family arguments about words and how lenient are you over some words. I mean, some of them are really pushing it, but yeah, but yeah, it was all in good fun, you know. So we played Scrabble. That was really good. Talking of games, well, actually I'll talk about that, because one of the things I want to talk about, and I was going to make a video on this, but I decided I'll talk about it here instead, is my New Year's resolutions. Because you get this a lot. People will be making videos about my New Year's resolution. I'm going to paint this, I'm going to do that, and blah blah blah. I thought, well, I've done that before, I think, in the past, particularly when I was like starting out in the hobby, and you know, they fall by the wayside. They do, because you know they do, don't they? So I'll come on to that, but still on Christmas at the moment. Now, I didn't get an awful lot of hobby stuff for Christmas, but then, to be fair, we tend to have, I mean, I get the odd thing, like for instance that painting handle I showed you, that was a Christmas present. I got a couple of chaos dudes as well, but other than that, I didn't really get anything hobby related. Tend to have more of a traditional Christmas, and for hobby stuff, usually for my birthday, which I tend to get, and I tend to get a lot of stuff hobby related, probably all hobby related on my birthday, and that's really cool. Okay, I think that's quite good there for a second coat on that one. So that's one down. Just make sure I can see the timer. Yeah, so yeah, we had a good time. Like I say, nice and quiet. Nobody around, and that made a change because normally we got people coming around, and it was just nice. Christmas was a bit of short one for me this year because of work. I only really had Christmas Day off. Only well, a Boxing Day I was due to work, but I ended up not working in the end. So I did have 2 days, and that's, more than some people, I suppose, but not as much as others, it would seem. Yeah, I wanted a bit more time. Like, factory jobs tend to shut down over Christmas, don't they? They tend to have like a week or two off at Christmas, at least a week usually. And yeah, that's something I'm hoping to maybe get a factory job for next year, but a daytime factory job with quite good money. Now there is a factory here where I live called Wrigley's, which are good payers, and they did offer me a temporary, like for a week over Christmas, but I thought it was silly giving up a permanent job for a temporary week job, even though the pay was, better and was a lot good. That's not to say the pay I'm on now isn't good. It's quite good actually for what it is. Although I do think you earn it physically. I feel you really earn your money. So they have their pound of flesh, as it were. These looking really good. I liking the look of these. That's 2 down. A few more drops of intense brown actually. Right. Yeah, so I'm hoping the new year is going to bring that. I mean, I've applied for day shift hours where I work, and it would depend on the actual hours. Really, if I'm going to do day shift, it needs to be quite early to make it worthwhile, to finish earlier. Otherwise, you might as well just stay on the later shift. But yeah. The other thing I don't like is, when I come home, is disturbing, like my wife, because obviously she works too, and I don't like disrupting her sleep pattern. Which, as hard as I try, it's difficult to come in and not be heard. Sometimes I have done it, but it's not easy. So yeah, I mean the place itself where I work is actually very good though, and some of the people there I would I'd miss, because good laugh and that. But money makes the world go round, and longevity is what's needed in a job if you're going to be earning a living. And I don't think I can do my job now long term. Although that said, it's really getting my body in shape. I can feel all my muscles hardening and tightening around my arms and shoulders and back and that. So it's given me quite a good body, I suppose. It's hard work. But I could do with something really which doesn't involve me getting on my hands and knees, which I have to do for this job, which is very awkward. Yeah, that's the third one done. On to the last one. Yeah. These are actually going to be alright. I'm painting these up for D&D. And I'm, like I said earlier, I'm looking to do a D&D campaign. I've got some new players interested in playing a game, you know, people I know, and they've never played it before. And yeah, so I'm probably going to run the Lost Mines of Fendelver, which is from the starter box set for D&D, because it's I think it's one of the best little campaign games for beginners. I really think it's great, and I think they'll enjoy it. I've run it a couple of times before, so I'm hoping, you know, each time gets better. I remember the first time I ran it, I was thinking of older editions of D&D, and I had to get that out of my head, you know. It's like playing a game in an old rule set, really. I can remember in the old days, lower armor class was good. Right. Yeah, low armor class. Anyway, I'm going to run the Lost Mines of Fendelver. I want to get a few bits and pieces painted up for it, to make it. I think it's good when you're running a game for players that have never played before, and you want to make a good impression. I think it's important to make a good impression. A good impression for the new players of D&D. Otherwise, they might go away and think, "No, that's a load of rubbish." I'm not too sure about that. So I want a nice lot of visual aesthetics. I want it to be nice and appealing, and that way, hopefully, we'll get some new players involved in the future. Right, so that's those bits done for intense brown. The next one would be tanned leather. I think that will give it a real old look. I suppose I could use beast hide. I'll go tanned leather. It's kind of the part of the triad of paints that are recommended. So let's talk about. Let's pop that down there. Let's talk about my New Year's resolutions. I want to talk about that because I decided against doing a video. Well, I was going to make a video for it. Now I've decided against it to talk about it here instead, because it like kills two birds with one stone. I do have some hobby New Year's resolutions, and I thought the best way to do it, to make it actually worthwhile. Actually, I'm going to have to start again with the. I haven't glued her onto this spit yet. I need to do that. Yes, I need to do that. First, I want to paint this. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. This burning spit. Well, it's yet to be lit, isn't it? So, I will need to go back to charred brown for that one. Right. yeah, so to make it work, I think, you know, it's important to have hobby resolutions that are easily doable, not ridiculous, like to say, oh, I'm going to paint every model in my collection or whatever. It isn't going to happen. And if you'll just bear with me, I'll leave you with that there. I'm just going to go and turn my dehumidifier off, because I forgot to turn it off before I started making the video. There, off. So now that's that done. Whoa, coming back. Back to the warmth, because... yeah, back to the heater. I must get myself a new chair this year. Actually, I'm gonna add that on. Actually, I think. Yeah. So, excuse me again. I've made myself a little list. You see. I'm just going to write down on it. Get new hobby chair, because that's going to be right. So my New Year's resolutions for 2019, first one I've just told you, get myself a new hobby chair, because this one keeps dropping. The cylinders had it really. It was old when I acquired it. I got it second hand, and yeah, I get backache sometimes, and I think it's good to have a good chair when you're hobbying. That's really important. And this chair will be okay, just have another chair in the studio. So yeah, actually use this palette. Alright, so charred brown, here we go. Here we go again. Same brush. So, you know, just get more. It's difficult to see when it's so dark whether it's actually going on. I think it is. I think I will add a shade. No, I won't. I won't bother. Jumping and changing my mind here, like a lunatic. Right. Okay. So I think that's that for that. Now for the pole that she's actually dangling from. Yeah, so get myself a new chair for 2019. So I've got a whole year to do it. So, you know, there's other things I want that are non-hobby related that will have to become a priority. You know, it's like things for the house and stuff. But that is one thing I do want. No, a decent chair is going to be about 80 quid, at least. And I know that. So, but like I say, it's going to be a good investment for me, for my studio. And like I say, I can use my old chair then as just a spare chair to sit around and play games or whatever. Be nice. So I'm going to clean my brush with a new bit of towel here. and my bar of soap. So let's move on to my next. I don't have a lot of resolutions, but I think the chair will be easily doable. That's one thing I do think. So there's no reason why. So it's just literally buying something and obtaining it, but it means having to make certain sacrifices financially with other things in other months. I think I'd like to get it for my birthday as a kind of present to myself. I think that would be a nice birthday present to myself. That would be good. Okay, I've written down here, make 6 tutorial videos, and what I'm going to do, that doesn't sound like a lot probably, but they take me several weeks to make each one, so that's kind of like one every couple of months. As long as I get 6 done in a year, I'm going to be happy. And you know, if I get more done, then it's a bonus. So that's good. And what I'll do is I'll make like a checklist. I'll write them down, and then I can tick them off. I'll put it up on the wall even, I think, and you know, do that. Right. Whilst I'm waiting, anything else I can do with her? I think maybe look at the grey. What greys do we have here? That's Celestra grey. There we go. Just put some highlights on her outfit. I've got some new brushes. I really should start using them. Keep using these old knackered out things, you know. Actually, that feels, yes, I was right. I was going to say that feels like a new unopened one. Celestia Grey I have already out here. So I'm going to use that one. Yeah, I could think of Grandiose. I won't water it down because it's just, you know, the odd line here and there. I could think of Grandiose hobby goals, but what's the point in that? It just sounds big and then you end up failing, so I don't want to do that. I think 6 tutorials would be good, and like I say, making a checklist will keep me accountable for it to a degree, and I think that will help me. Right. My next one, make 3 terrain pieces, and I can make video updates on those. No, they don't have to be big pieces. I know Nick from Nick Beer 40k, he does a terrain challenge once a year, and I'm not always ready to do it at the time, but during the course of the year I am aiming to get 3 terrain pieces done. When I say that, I mean things I've built, not bought. So like the tables I'm painting here now, they're not going to count. So 3 terrain pieces, because I'm not the biggest fan on working with terrain, you know, like the likes of the terrain tutor and all that. It doesn't float my boat as much. But that said, I know how vastly important, well, how hugely important terrain is to a table, and you know, I appreciate the importance of it. It makes a huge difference. Right. I think we'll give her pink hair top or something like that. Not a hair top, hair bun thing. Actually, I'll put Tuskor there as a base. Right. So yeah, 3 terrain pieces. I'd like to make a how to play Strontium Dog series. I don't know how many videos that would take me. All I know is it'll probably take me more than one. It probably would take 2 videos. Depends on how long you want to make said videos, doesn't it, really? Yeah, I suppose depends how long you want to make the videos. Don't want to make them too long. It's not that hard of a game. It's really quite simple. But I suppose, you know, with the tactical element of it, you could make it as long as you wanted, really. But not my intent to do that. Alright. And there's obviously, like, you know, every game has its own idiosyncrasies and things that are unique to it and situations that crop up. So that would be good. It wouldn't get a lot of views because it's not a well-known game, but I also like to do some tactical videos for it too, just because I like the game. I love the game. I like its versatility, and if you haven't seen my Strontium Dog videos, yeah, then I'll put a link somewhere to one of them at least, where you can go and watch that. So yeah, that said, I mean, I'm not the best tactical person in that game because I got absolutely trounced. I always fancied myself as a bit of a tactician, but my friend absolutely trounced me in it. But to be fair, he grew up with Strontium Dog in the comic 2000 AD, and he knows the characters inside out like the back of his hand. So I'm not saying he had an unfair advantage, but I do think he had a little bit of an advantage. And I'm not complaining about that because I enjoyed the game thoroughly. Well, the games thoroughly. But yeah. So now the next one, here we go. I would like to obtain and restore, or make beautiful again, an old game, board game, such as Mansions of Madness. It's because it's a miniatures based board game. I mean, I have my Zombicide, and Mansions of Madness was always something which appealed to me at the time of Zombicide when I was getting into that. And I'll put this one to one side now. I can go back to it. And yeah, it appealed to me because I'll get around it again. I don't know, spooky, weird stuff. I like all that stuff, you know. And I know that the first edition of Mansions of Madness is not really the best, but the miniatures I like, and there's a lot of stuff for it. that you can use in the second edition, so it'll be kind of handy. I mean, I do intend to get the second edition as well, which they say is a better game around because you use like an iPad or whatever to take the place of the DM or the GM in it. Which is good because it makes it a more co-op type of game, which we love. So true, we could just get the second edition and have fun with that, and that would be great. But I like to restore things, and because you can get versions of it where people just haven't bothered painting the miniatures, and I think that's sad in a miniatures game. It's a tragic tale. I need to rectify this. I need to sort of help these games along. And make them beautiful, nicely painted miniatures for the game, like they should have been all along, but they were intended to be. Yeah, and I would like to do that. That is something I would like to do. So, Mansions of Madness, in one form or another, I will be getting into. So yeah, and this will make you laugh. As a bonus, I put, get some more work done on my Ford pickup truck. Now, I could have just said, work on my Orc bomber, but I know that's not going to be realistic. And I've put bonus for this, because I don't think I probably won't get to it. But if I do, it'll be a bonus. So that's why it's, a bonus resolution. So when I came back from Florida, I just wanted to build some American truck, and so that's what I got in my local hobby shop. So there you go. That's all my hobby resolutions. Let me know yours if you have any. Be interested to hear. Do you have any hobby resolutions, New Year's resolutions that you would like to see come to fruition in 2019? Let me know in the comments. I'd be very interested to hear about that. Not to mention, of course, as always, what you're working on. Is it GW related? Is it non-GW related? Is it terrain? Is it infantry? Is it vehicles? It fascinates me. I find it hugely fascinating. It's turned out alright, this wood. Liking it a lot. It's actually the trio that was suggested to me for fur. And I thought it would look good on wood, with wood grain and so on. And so it does. So it does. Yeah. So yeah, those are my New Year's resolutions for the hobby. And I'm hoping that because they're not too impossible, I can get around to, they're not too far out of reach. And I'll check each one off. It'd be nice, have a new chair and get that done. I mean, anything else is a bonus, like, finish all my models that I've got now and blah blah blah. But I know that to get all my models done is just a bit of a fantasy, really. It's not gonna happen. So I'll always buy more, you see. Right, that's that one done. Okay. Let's get this last one done here. So what else? The New Year for me. Well, New Year's Day, I went to work in the evening. It was a bit of a boring shift, to be honest. Working on my own mostly. Don't like those shifts. I find them boring, and they go so much slower. So I got a brush in my mouth. I think I'd rather work an 8-hour shift with people than a 4-hour shift on my own. Time just goes so much quicker when you're with people, I find. Painting these wooden tavern tables. I think it'll add something to the visual, like I say, the aesthetics of the game. Because when it's not your turn, you can then, when other people see with D&D and any role-playing game, when you're not actively participating at that split second, your attention can wander, and I'm aware of that. So I'm hoping that having some nice miniatures on the game, on the table, at least will help alleviate those problems, or some of them. Can't do any harm anyway, so there, that's that one done. Next I'll be doing the intense brown. Done charred brown, definitely finished now. So, intense brown now. We're needing a new piece of kitchen towel. So this is, like I said earlier, this is my first. Not only is this my first on the bench with Pete video this year, it's my first video this year. So yeah, let's hope 2019 will be quite successful. I've got a lot of Reaper bones, Reaper models in general, Legends and Chronoscope and all the other stuff from Reaper to paint up. I've got more Strontium Dog and even a little bit of Games Workshop, so it's going to be good. Okay. I'm not sure yet where I'll be running my D&D game. Ran the last one out here in the studio. I might do it at the house this time. Who knows? Depends on stuff. Depends where people are most comfortable, I guess. I'm conscious of the fact they're new players, and I want them to feel as comfortable as possible. Not intimidated at all. you come out into a hobby studio, you might think, this is a bit serious, you know. And I know that feeling from when I first wargamed historicals. I thought, these guys are serious. Don't know if they want to have fun. Well, they did, but I didn't know that at the time, and it was a little bit intimidating. Because it comes across as this really big, serious thing, and you think, wow, look at all the time and effort they've put into this. Best not, you know, mess around here. Not that I'm advocating messing about in a game. I'm just saying, you know, it can put you off. Sorry, I was off camera there. Not that you need me to be on camera on this video series, which is excellent. So my next tutorial is, like I said, it's a barbarian. But bear in mind, I started the tutorial in 2018. Right, okay. There we go. I think I'll get the tanned leather effect on these wooden bits, and then I'll glue her on to the spit, as it were. Need to wait for that to dry somewhat. Yeah. So I'll just pop my glasses down. I'm going to call it a day here for this video because there's a couple of things I need to take care of back at the house, and yeah, but I will be doing another video very soon, and oh yeah, I'll probably make the second one today as well. I'm aware that this is, I mean, usually these videos last about an hour, but this one is going to be a bit somewhat shorter. But I'm quite pleased with the way these are coming out. You know, it's starting to look like wooden tables. So anyway, I'm going to zoom out now. So I'm going to end it here. So sorry, this is a bit of a shorter one for the first one of the 2019. That's not going to be indicative of videos for the future of this type. These types usually are about an hour long. But you know, I'll get another one done, and then from then on I'll start planning them a bit better with a structure somewhat. But thank you very much for joining me. Remember, all brushes lead to war. Let me know what you're working on, or what you've been working on. Let me know about any New Year's resolutions you may have for the hobby. I've listed mine. I'll probably talk about them again in my next video, just to go over them. I might bring them up quite a bit till I do them, and especially if I achieve one of the objectives, and I think that's a good way of doing it. But don't forget, I'm on Twitter. Head over to Twitter. There's a little link on my home page on the YouTube channel. Please give me a follow there if you wouldn't mind. I'm trying to build up my followers as well, and you know, if you're on Twitter and you want to follow me, I can follow you back, and you know, we can share. It's easier to get notifications and videos out there. Plus I put stuff on Twitter which you know, doesn't crop up on here, just little things about my life as well as the hobby. So yeah, thanks very much for joining me. Remember, all brushes lead to war. I will see you on the next video. Hope you had a great New Year and a good Christmas, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.